Well, hello, my name is Roy with Beckley's Camping Center, and I'm going to start making a series of videos that I'm calling Living and Loving Your Motorhome. And I figured a good way to start would be to talk about some accessories that, based upon the 30 years that I've had motorhomes, we have found to be very useful. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list. There are so many accessories out there, you could probably fill a motorhome with them. But I've tried to narrow it down to some of the ones that I think are most useful, as well as some that are most important. So in no particular order, we'll just kind of breeze through them. So let's get going. So you definitely want to have a tire pressure gauge with you. It's very important that you check your tire pressure before you take a trip. And if you're on an extended trip, you probably want to check it periodically as well. Just make sure that you get a tire gauge that can handle the tire pressure in your coach. As you probably know, with some of the large, especially the large diesel pushers, you could have a tire pressure exceeding 125 psi. So just make sure it can handle that and that it's easy for you to use. The next thing that I highly recommend, in fact, I recommend this to all my motorhome clients, is get yourself a tire pressure monitor system. The new ones that are out now, they're wireless, very easy to use. You just screw them on the valve stem of your tire. They're very easy to program anymore. You don't have to remember all kinds of digits and numbers. You basically just touch the sensor to the monitor. And what this will give you, depending on the brand you get, is it'll give you real-time tire pressure indication and tire temperature indication. So while you're traveling, it's a constant state of comfort that you can just glance at a little monitor on your dashboard and you can constantly see the tire pressure of all your tires. And if something were to happen, you'll get an alert if you start to lose pressure or if your temperature spikes, which would be an indication of a potential tire failure. So peace of mind, well worth it. And there's all different kinds of brands you can get out there. Just make sure that the brand you get is compatible with your tire stems. Some will only work on metal stems, some will work on metal or rubber. Just check that out before you buy one. And then the final thing, since we're kind of on tires, is we always carry a tire inflator. And again, you want to make sure that whatever you're carrying can handle the tire pressure in your coach. Now, luckily, in the 30 years we've been motorhoming, we've never had to use it, but I have lent it to people that needed one. So again, just good to have with you. Hopefully you never need it, but what's that old saying? Better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. Just a good thing to have with you. By the way, you can also use this to inflate like things for the pool or inflatable balls, whatever. Again, just good to have. So moving on from that, this I would categorize as a must-have. It's a water pressure regulator. Most motorhomes, their plumbing system in there is rated to handle perhaps up to 60 psi or a little bit more. And some campgrounds, their water systems could easily spike over that. What this will do is this will gauge the water coming into your coach and make sure it isn't higher than what your coach can handle. Because the last thing you want to have is a burst pipe in your coach. So again, well worth it. When you use it, put this on the faucet and then connect your freshwater hose to it. That way it'll protect your hose as well. And make this part of your final checkoff sheet when you leave. Because I've left about 5 of these at campgrounds across America because I always forget to take it with me. So now I added that to my checklist. And then along with water, we carry a freshwater hose extension. We have our regular freshwater hose with us, but we carry one of these collapsible freshwater hoses because at some campgrounds, at some sites, you might find yourself pretty far away from the freshwater spigot at your site. And you want to be able to make sure you can use the water that's there. So just carry one of these with you. And again, you can get these all kinds of collapsible units you can get now. Just make sure the one you get is for fresh water and only use it for fresh water. Now, of course, you definitely want to carry a box of disposable rubber gloves for when you're making your connections at your service bay, when you're dumping your tanks. Invaluable. I keep one of these in my bay, so they're always handy. And of course, you can also use these for other things too, like when you're coiling up your power cord, because they have a tendency to get dirty or whatever laying outside. Nice to have. And we also carry a set of what are called fueling gloves. These are actually from WeatherTech, and these are designed, especially if you have a diesel, so that you can cover your hands and protect yourself from the diesel pumps. Because as you know, they have a tendency to get a little grimy. And again, these also have other uses at your campsite. Again, specifically, like if you're coiling up your power cord hose, another good thing to have. And then associated with your service bay, when you're putting your sewer hose in the sewer connection at the bay, depending on the type of hose you have, it'll just fit down onto that pipe that's at the campsite. When you open your tanks, when you're dumping your black tank or your gray tank, depending upon how much is in there, that's a lot of force coming through that hose. And it's a real good idea to weigh the hose down. Now, we just carry a little sandbag that we put over the top of the hose, when it's at the sewer connection. And that way you don't have to worry about that thing accidentally moving or coming off when you're dumping your tanks. And there's all kinds of these you can get. There are some specifically made for RVs that have two weights with a little strap that goes across the top. But again, we found this to be highly worthwhile because you only have to have that happen once. And you want to carry something to prevent it. So again, pretty handy, and keep it in your bag. Now, moving along, kind of thinking from the inside of the coach, it's definitely worthwhile to have an RV-specific GPS system. This one is by RVND, Rand McNally. And by RV-specific, I mean that you can actually program in this unit the height, the length, the width, and the weight of your coach. So it's only going to route you on friendly roads. There's a lot of GPS systems out there. If they're not optimized for an RV, like if they're for standard automobile use or whatever, it could route you on a road that's got a low bridge, and you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to back up. So there's lots of other RV-specific GPS systems out there. Just make sure you get one that will be smart enough to know what you're driving. Again, kind of like a peace of mind thing, but well worth it. And kind of associated with the GPS stuff, one thing that my wife and I have found is really useful going down the highway is this publication. It's called Exit Now. Basically what this is this shows every exit on the interstate system in the United States. And it will allow you, as you're driving down the road, you can kind of look ahead and say, okay, we're at exit 280, we're gonna wanna take a break, so what's coming up in 20 miles at exit 260? And your navigator can actually look in this book and tell you exactly what's at that exit. Whether there's RV-friendly restaurants, RV-friendly service stations, RV service centers, all kinds of stuff. Just makes it really easy to plan and predict what you want to do next going down the highway. Again, Exit Now, really good publication. Now, along with your coach, you want to be able to take care of it too. So when you're traveling, carry a collapsible windshield washer. I mean, when you go to the service station, hopefully they might have some of these there that you can use to wash your windshield, but the odds are there probably won't. Or if they have one, it's going to be all torn up. So carry your own. And make sure it's extendable so you can store it easy, and you can also reach up to the top of your windshield. Not nice to drive with a lot of bugs on the windshield. And then finally, when you want to wash your coach, get yourself a collapsible and extendable wash pole so that it's easy as you go around your coach to wash it, so you can wash the bottom part easily and you can extend to the top. And also, make sure you know what you're putting on the end. There's different levels of brushes that you can get. Some softer, some harder. You want to make sure you get a brush that is for your coach, that is gentle to full body paint, that's not going to hurt the clear coat on your coach. So again, there's all different kinds of brush heads. They're typically different colors. Talk to your parts professional in our parts store, and they'll be able to help you pick the right brush head for your coach. So it's going to protect your paint as well as clean it. And then the final thing I'd recommend to every motorhome owner is join Family Motor Coach Association. This is an association of primarily motorhome owners. We've been in it 30 years. You actually get a real magazine monthly, which is great campfire rating. And for those of you that are all digital, they have a digital copy too. But again, this is nice. It's got all kinds of great articles in it. I like it because in the back they have accessories, which is always fun to look at. And they have a very good website with all kinds of technical documentation and lifestyle documentation that they call FMCA University. So once you're a member, right, you get this monthly and you have access to their website and all the resources that are there. And then you can also join their roadside assistance operation so that you've got the comfort and safety of a roadside assistance support with your coach as well. So that's kind of what I came up with a quick overview. Hopefully you got something out of this. Like I said, there's so many other accessories and doodads you can get for these things. I'm sure there's lots of other ideas you and your fellow motorhomers will have. So thank you for your time, and look forward to our next series of Living and Loving Your Motorhome. We're going to do one on tires, tire maintenance. We're going to do one on maintaining your coach and loving it, and hopefully a whole series thereafter. So thank you and happy motoring.